A few years ago, I was driving to church uh, twice a week, 2 hours away, and then I would drive back those same nights for about 2 hours, right? And, I also volunteered to, to clean the bathrooms, and that would take me about an hour and a half to 2 hours to do. So, one of those nights when I was cleaning the bathrooms, it was after like 10 p.m. And, I was going to drive home. I was going to get home after midnight. And, I left the house early in the morning, that morning. But anyways, I'm done cleaning the bathrooms. I'm walking up the church building. And there's this guy in the parking lot. And my first reaction is like, oh man, is this guy going to try to rob me? Then I, quickly realized, as I'm walking to my car, the guy's super drunk. He looks like a mess. And he just starts, like, asking me for money so that he could stay at a motel with his girlfriend. And, this guy was obviously intoxicated, and this guy, every now and again, and I found this out later, but I did perceive it was the same guy at the time, and then I found it out later that it was true. Every now and again, he loiters at that church building and tries to hit up people for money as they come in and out of church, or throughout the day or whatever. So, this guy, I wasn't going to preach the gospel to him because he's super drunk. I've never seen a drunk person understand the gospel and listen. But I did have a card that has a YouTube video, had a YouTube video of the gospel, right, where the card just says, type this in and on YouTube, and you'll hear a gospel presentation. So I told him, hey, I don't have money for you, but please watch this when you're sober. Maybe tomorrow, the next day, when you have some time. And he looks at the card. At first, he thought it was going to be money, right? And he just looks at me in disgust, and he just goes on some rant about how I'm probably, just going to drive to some restaurant and order a fancy steak or something. And no, I was actually going to drive home, a long, boring car ride, in the dark, going through some wooded areas, have to watch out for deer at 11, 12 at night. I get home safely, but, but I just got really angry. I just lit into him, not physically, of course, but I just started yelling at him because he also, went on to perceive, he started to go on another rant about how, the Bible says to be generous. And so I just started yelling at him really loudly in this parking lot at like past 10 at night about how the Bible says if you don't work, you shouldn't eat. And that, because he was also trying to tell me that he had some disability. And I was also yelling at him, being a drunkard isn't a disability. Okay? It's being wicked and lazy and refusing to work. And I'm not going to give you money so you can pay for motels, you can go bang your girlfriend. Okay? So you can go fornicate. And, eventually I was just yelling so much that the guy was, just starting to walk away, yelling back at me. And I just got in my car and just drove off. But, look, there's a lot of people like that where they hit you up for money and they have no long-term plan. They have no intention of paying you back. They have no intention of using that money for good use or for even emergencies. They either want to, buy drugs, buy alcohol, buy some television or something, you know, buy. I remember there was this one guy before I started going to that church where, eventually he got kicked out of that church for denying the Trinity. But he, people told me that, before I started going there, that guy, him and his wife would privately ask people for money, and make all sorts of excuses about, they need rent or whatever, some mini crisis, and people believed them. And eventually it was found out that, oh, he just bought a really fancy pool table with that money that people from the church gave him. Okay. And, the pastor of that church, who was only around once every 6 weeks, there was another guy who was actually preaching there most of the time, but the pastor of that church, for years was using offering and tithe money to go to casinos and gamble, do cocaine, drink, and pay for prostitutes. Okay, and look, there's a lot of scammers like that, and so watch out for it. And look, if somebody who's able-bodied refuses to work, you're not obligated as a Christian to support them financially. Okay. Another thing is if you watch Brother Greg's video about ministries and money, he did it yesterday. He talks about in that video he talks about an email he received, where some guy saying, "Hey, me and I forgot if it was a wife or fiance, we want to buy a house, and basically, hey, can you fundraise for us, and so we can get like $50,000." And I also received that same email, by the way, and I never replied. It was ridiculous. And